What's up, hockey nerds? Because I am one. That's why. Welcome to Undrafted Hockey Fan. I'm Brad, and we're here to talk about some hockey trades. And I'm actually so excited about this because I think of trades all the time, and to me, there's some of the most fun ones. And so I'm looking at some of these, and I believe me, I looked through some ones, and I'm like, you are crazy. You're absolutely an Islanders fan, right? Like, or you're like I saw one that was from Ottawa Senators, and it was like Red Wings gave over like Patrick Kane to Brinkat for like a seventh. It was something crazy. So, but I love going over trades because they're a ton of fun. Like again, and so we got a couple of these ones that we're going to be going over. We got about 9 of them that we're going to go over. And so if you want to stick around and hang out, let me know what your thoughts are on these. If you're listening to the podcast, you can listen through Spotify, you can listen through Apple, I think Amazon as well. Like if you're on YouTube, you can check out the videos because I'll be doing the videos with it. And again, we are 33 days into doing a podcast every day. So if you want to hit like, subscribe, all that stuff, I really appreciate it because it helps fill out my content, baby. So anyways, we're going to jump into the first trade. And speaking of the Red Wings, because Red Wings are the team that I follow the most, we're going to go up with these ones. So doing the first trade, it is Kakko for Patrick Kane and a second round pick. Now, of course, Patrick Kane was traded at one point to the New York Rangers. In a deal. Let me look at it real quick. I think it was something around like a second round pick because he had a full blown no trade clause because he wanted to be traded there actively. So when he got traded there, it was a big deal. It was it was a third round pick. Oh no, sorry, it was a Utah retained salary. Sorry. So going back was let me look at it. Let me pull up the full details. It was like a big trade. Also, they just got it back for like a guy. I don't know. It was like a double retention. It was not a great trade for the Chicago Blackhawks in the sense it's like you're trading Patrick Kane, right? But basically, so with this one, you're looking at Patrick Kane and who he is today. And what you're looking at today, Patrick Kane, who's playing this way right now, he's under a half a point per game. He's 11 points in 25 games. So you're looking at a guy who's just kind of a shell of what he used to be, even from last year. Last year, he was almost a point per game. And this past summer, he's like, okay, I'm gonna have time to train and all that stuff and get back in shape. Because last year he had the surgery and he signed late in like November. And so you're like, okay, get Patrick Kane. I understand that. And you're trading over it's your New Rangers are getting a second round pick and they're getting Kakko back. I don't love that. As a Red Wings fan, I do agree trading Patrick Kane is the right move. And I think Kakko is absolutely an undervalued guy. I do recognize that Patrick Kane does have some value and he will have a no trade clause. So what I would say is maybe a second round pick is not the move. Because mind you, Kakko's putting up half point per game per season right now. He is an RFA that is something to consider. I would consider this if I would say you're gonna end up retaining salary instead. So right now they're currently having the Rangers taking the full cap of the Patrick Kane. I would say at $2 million, and I would say you're not sending over a second round pick, you're sending over a third. I'd say you're sending over a third round pick and Patrick Kane half retained because I think Patrick Kane does have value. He does have like third to round value, I'd say. I think he can step it up. I think he really enjoyed his time with the oops, my bad. He really enjoyed his time with the that's not supposed to be trade that be there. Anyways, he enjoyed his time with the Rangers. I mean, from what I recall, think he did play pretty well with them. Let me pull up his stats real quick on the Rangers. Because to me, I remember him doing all right. 12 points in 19 games. Yeah, I mean, he did well. And in the playoffs, he did in 7 games, he had 6 points. I mean, that's good. I mean, that would be great. Even if you got like a part of that, like even if you got like in 7 games, you got like 4 or 5 points, it'd still be nice to have. I think it builds a lot of confidence having Patrick Kane. So I guess I would say this is about where I want to see it. I don't think Kakko. If you were like Kakko for a straight up second round pick, I don't know if I'd do it. That's what I'm saying. I think you got to lower it. I think if it was Kakko for a third and Patrick Kane, I think I would do it. And that would be Red Wings again retaining half. And that way the New York Rangers actually get 0.4 cap space back as well, which I can use again to acquire another player. So I'd be okay. There's the right pieces around this, and I'm definitely okay with something that's built around this. So I could definitely see it. So we're going to a bigger trade now. So this is between the Montreal Canadiens and the New York Islanders. You have Matt Barzal and Ryan Pulock going to the Montreal Canadiens for Kirby Dach, Arber Xhekaj, Adam Engstrom, and a first and a second round pick. By the way, side note, I think it would be if you were to do a first and second round pick, it'd be a first round pick in 2025 and a second round pick in 2026, just to give yourself some stagger because you don't want to lose your top two picks in there right now. So I'm gonna say this is already a hard one to judge because I think Montreal could actually end up doing this cap space anyways. But the idea around it is that Matt Barzal is one, he is a highly valued player, and he's only in the second year of his 8-year contract. So mind you, he is hurt this year. He's only played he has 5 points in 11 games. But last year he had 80 points in 80 games. The year before that, 51 points in 58 games, right? Like he's been playing at a great pace, and he's literally in the prime of his career right now. And I also agree getting Matt Barzal out of New York, out of Staten Island, but I just think he's a little too valuable to do that. And similar to moving a big contract like Ryan Pulock, who's in the third year of his 8-year contract, he's got 11 points in 32 games. Again, not a huge point getter because he's a phenomenal defenseman. And to me, this is an odd trade for the Montreal Canadiens because you're taking a young guy in Kirby Dach who is 9 points in 30 games, again, struggles a little bit, as well as Arber Xhekaj, kind of just a bruiser, a third line D. Not really, he's a third liner, right? And then you have Adam Engstrom, who was a third round pick by the Montreal Canadiens in 2022. He's doing well in the AHL. He's 14 points in 26 games. So as a defenseman, like he's doing well. So it's a good prospect. So, and the first and second round pick, of course, great. So what I will say is this is assuming that they're trying to be good now, or they're trying to be Islanders are starting the rebuild. I'd say. I don't think you build them around a guy like Arber Xhekaj. I could see it around Kirby Dach. I could see that because he's 23 years old. He'll have him for a long time as an RFA, so you'll have control over and everything. He's a high draft pick, but we definitely know he's been struggling for a while. Ever since he had his first year with the Montreal Canadiens, 38 points, 58 games. But the year after that, he only played 2 games, and he was hurt the whole time. And even this year, he's about a point every 3 games, so not a huge value. So the thing is Kirby Dach's not providing a lot of value. Arber Xhekaj doesn't provide a lot of value. Adam Engstrom might, but he's 21 at this point, and you're like, okay, like he might be a good guy. So like, really, you're like, let's say Kirby Dach, Arber Xhekaj, Engstrom. Let's say that those all pan out to a first or second round pick, maybe. I don't know. Because there are 2 guys that are NHLers. There's some quantity to that, and Kirby Dach has the upside potentially, but I think similar to Kakko, he's starting his value starting to quickly fall. Again, if you're like, hey, I'll give you Kirby Dach for a second, I pause, maybe like a late second. I think I'd trade Kirby Dach for a third. Arber Xhekaj, I'd probably trade for like a fourth. Again, he's more of a bruiser. Not gonna like. He's cool to have. Like he's like a Giovanni Smith. He's like a tough guy. He's like a Pat Maroon. Like that's great to have him as like an energy guy. I just don't think he brings a lot of value on the ice as much. Again, Adam Engstrom, we just don't know who he is, and it's a first, second round pick. I'm going to say no to this deal because Matt Barzal and Ryan Pulock just put out so much value. I mean, if you were to take Matt Barzal, you'd be getting a haul back. I mean, you could get a first round drafted prospect that's performing well, plus like a first and a second round draft pick, plus like 2 roster players. Like you get a lot from, and that's just for Matt Barzal because I think he's just such an elite player. Again, he's injured right now, but you're going to have him for like his whole prime. And Ryan Pulock as well. I think you can easily get a first plus for him. So I'm going to have to nix that deal for this one. But again, it's interesting when you're trying to get people that like, it's funny because you look at a trade like this, you're like, okay, this guy's clearly a Montreal. This person is clearly a Montreal Canadiens fan. So it cracks me up that you like, it's like, oh, dude, like, oh, well, let's just send some pieces out that I don't really want anymore. Like, I don't really like Kirby Dach anymore. I don't really need Arber Xhekaj. I think he has value. Adam Engstrom, I think he has value. And like first and second, I'm like, yeah, it works. It works. I'm like, no, that's not how that works, buddy. But I like the effort. This is why we review these things because I like the effort. Like, I want to see these guys try to come up with a good one for us to talk about. So moving on to our third one that we're going to be talking about is this one's called Merry Christmas. If you want to check these out on on Puckpedia. This one's called Merry Christmas. Detroit Red Wings one. So we're looking at another Patrick Kane trade. And so it looks like Patrick Kane going to the Washington Capitals for half retained for a third round pick. I'd have to disagree with that one. I think Patrick Kane half retained is there's something to name value. I mean, even Ben Chirac got traded for over a first round pick to the Montreal Canadiens. So I'm gonna say Patrick Kane, I guess maybe a third or a second round pick would be reasonable. If you're telling me to retain half on Patrick Kane, I think I need a second. Just because of the money and there's a little bit of value there. So I could see that for sure. I would, and Patrick Kane maybe I'd say because of Patrick Kane's name, and people would be like, I think Colorado would like him. I think, Rangers would like him. I think there'd be a bit of a bidding war. So I think you actually could bump that to a second round pick because I think people would want him more than you think. Again, it's Patrick Kane, one of probably the best, they go down as the best American player ever to play in the NHL. Especially a half retain, I definitely can see them getting a second round pick or a third plus, right? Let's say a third and a fourth or a third and a third. I could see that absolutely happening. So I would say there's something there with the Washington Capitals in Detroit. But yeah, I think that's something right there. I just upgrade that to probably a second. It can be Washington second. It can be whoever second they have, right? Talking about the Detroit to or Alex Lyon to the Carolina Hurricanes as well. Clearly, this person, I mean, they're trying to help Detroit as much as they can. A 2025 third round pick for Alex Lyon. I actually, and I'm a Red Wings fan. And call me crazy if I am, because I feel like I'm going crazy sometimes with being a Red Wings fan. But there's just something like with how hot the goalie market is right now and how people want a good goalie. Alex Lyon for his cap hit at $900,000. I think you might be able to get like the Red Wings originally traded a third round pick for him, plus the rights to Peter Mrazek. So like to me, like I think you can get more than a third round pick because he's such a great cap hit. Again, he's played 9 games this year. He's got a 911 save percentage and a 2.75 goals against average. Like those are good numbers. And if you're trying to buy on him, I think it's less about Alex Lyon and it's more about the market, right? Like teams that need a goalie are going to pay for a little bit more for a goalie, right? Like I think Ken Holland. Well, I guess it wouldn't be Ken Holland anymore. It's the Oilers and that's Stan Bowman. But I think like the Oilers would be willing to pay a third plus. Like I think you're looking at a third and a fourth or a third and a second. Like, and then you're probably sending Calvin Pickard back, maybe. Like for this price, it's a really good. Again, it's less about Alex Lyon and it's more about the goalie market. And I think Alex Lyon could fetch a little bit more than a third, but I think there's definitely something there. And with Carolina, I think I can see something that's there. I think that's the third round pick, by the way, they got for Jake Gensel, by the way, which is crazy. Then we also have Detroit picks up Ivan Provorov, and they send out William Wallinder, a first round pick, and 2 third round picks. So looking at these right now, Ivan Provorov right now has 11 points, 31 games as a second pair defenseman. He's 27 years old, still in the middle of his prime and everything. And so he's never been a huge point getter, but he's like around a half point per game player. And he's playing on the Columbus Blue Jackets as well. So you have to take that into consideration. He's a good player. I think the problem is that I think he has a little more. I don't know if the Red Wings need a player like Ivan Provorov, because the thing is he brings up a little more offensive prowess, in my opinion. And he's a little more of an offensive guy. And so I think I want to see a little more defensive responsible player. And Ivan Provorov, there's a value to him. I don't mind the trade. And again, this is Wings signed Provorov to a $7 million deal over 5 years. I don't think he's worth $7 million. And the first rounder is top 10 protected. I don't mind trading out William Wallinder. I think he's played okay in the AHL. Mind you, he's a second round pick. He's 22 years old, so he's starting to. I think he'll end up having to play with the Red Wings next year, anyways. 6 points, 15 games. 15 points in 65 games the year before that. I don't mind trading to William Wallinder. I think he has the value that people think he does. It's the first round pick. I think a first round pick for Ivan Provorov, and then he signed the deal. That makes sense. And then a couple thirds. I think that makes sense. So I would say the deal makes sense. The deal makes sense in the value that's going back and forth. I would say what Detroit's looking for is not it, because Ivan Provorov is basically going to be holding that spot until Axel Sandy Pelika comes up, who is a power play nightmare for the other teams. He's phenomenal. He's currently like a point per game in the SHL with Falenda. And the guy's going to look like he's going to be great. And I don't think it's right to trade for him, sign him to this five-year deal, and have him on your books for at $7 million a year. Like, it should be too hard to move him later. So I would say the Red Wings say no deal to this. And also at $7 million, I'm probably going to want more because he's making 6.8 right now. He's going to want more than 7. And so, I mean, I could see him taking like probably a $7.5-8 million deal for like 7 years. Like, I think that's what Ivan Provorov will command. I think someone will pay it. And so I just don't see this. I see this. There's good structure here, good bones here. And I think I would say yes to this deal if it wasn't the Detroit Red Wings, because I don't know if they need it. Again, that's because I follow the Red Wings so closely. So I'm very familiar. I'm very familiar with their game. So moving on to the next one, we have Rangers. So we have a Rangers trade with the Red Wings. And mind you, not all these are Red Wings. But this one's called Rangers swap for the 24-25 season. So there are talks. If you didn't hear the rumors about the New York Rangers, there are talks about the Rangers moving out Chris Kreider and Mika Zibanejad. And one of the caveats here is Zibanejad would have to waive his full no moving clause. And to me, I think I would love Mika Zibanejad. He has 21 points in 30 games. He's 31 years old, right? So he's an older asset, as well as Chris Kreider, who's an older asset as well. He's 33 years old, and he's got 2 years left on his contract. So Kreider has 2 years left on his contract. Zibanejad has 5 years left on his contract. So really, you're taking these guys into their old age who are going to slowly decrease in value. So what I would say is the Red Wings are getting depreciating assets, in my opinion. You probably take the Kreider one and flip him again. But to me, Zibanejad and Kreider are, over these long-term contracts, is depreciating assets. And if Red Wings are going for it now, it would make more sense. But I don't see them picking up both those players. I think that also Rangers, I don't think we get the value for both those. And I think moving out Andrew Copp makes sense because he played with the Rangers, right? They traded for him at one point. And it was 2021 or 2022. Patrick Kane, again, we just had a conversation about him getting over there. Justin Hall fills in that extra defenseman, that third pair defenseman that you lost with Jacob Trouba. And again, Red Wings are sending out, if it was these players and then they take the players back, I could see a second round pick. I think sending out a first round pick, again, because these guys are depreciating assets. Like, mind you, like Red Wings traded Alex DeBrincat, or acquired Alex DeBrincat for like a first, a roster player, a prospect, and like a fourth round pick. Like, you're getting, and Alex DeBrincat was like 25 at the time. Like, so you're getting a guy who's going to be in his prime, 26, 25, 26. Like, he's going to be in his prime for the next 4 years, which is why you signed to that contract. So, like, you trade first round picks for assets who you're going to use now, right? Like, Rangers aren't going to acquire a first round pick as well as move off of bad contracts. You know what I mean? Like, just to give you an example, and this is actually a Rangers and Red Wings example. Rangers wanted to move off of Mark Stahl. Mark Stahl had 1 year left, and he needed to be paid $5 million. So what did New York Rangers do? They sent over a second round pick with Mark Stahl for future considerations, just because they just want to get rid of the contract. And we know Rangers want to get rid of Rangers management, I'd say, wants to get rid of Zibanejad and Kreider, which means they are depreciating assets right now. So, and Kreider does have a lot of value. I think Zibanejad also has value. I don't know if it's 8.5. Which means that he's not worth what he's being paid. So you have to look at Detroit's perspective. You're like, okay, I'm doing you a favor by taking these guys off your payroll for, in the case of Zibanejad, for this year, the next 5 years, and then Chris Kreider this year, the next 2 years. So, and mind you, they're taking Andrew Copp off this year, I think next year as well. So he has, I'll pull him up real quick. So Andrew Copp has this year and 2 years after. So you are taking Andrew Copp at a much lower cap hit as well, by the way. And you are taking Patrick Kane, who's a UFA at the end of the year. Justin Hall is this year and next year. So really, you're moving off of, you're taking up a couple of years of 2 years of extra years, 2 years of Andrew Copp after this year, 1 year of Justin Hall after this year, and you're getting rid of 5 years of Zibanejad and 2 extra years of Chris Kreider. It just doesn't seem like a fair trade for the Red Wings in the sense that, like, you're going to be giving up assets for that. If it was players for players, I could see something like this. I don't think the Rangers getting picks in this case makes sense to the Red Wings, because you're like, well, we're getting depreciating assets and we're sending picks out for them. Like, we're trying to acquire depreciating assets. It doesn't make sense for the picks aspect. So if you want to move out Copp, Kane, and Hall for Kreider and Zibanejad, I'll give you a third. I'd give you a third round pick. I'm not giving you a second and a first round pick. I think it's just, again, I flushed this out. So that's my opinion on that. I just don't think it would make sense for them to do that. So let me know what your thoughts are on that as well, because I'm curious on what you guys would think. So let me know in the comments down below. Again, hit like, subscribe, because you love it. You love me. I just want to be loved, baby. So we're gonna jump into a quick break though, and then we'll get back into a couple of trades, and we'll see you on the other side. So see you in a minute. The 24-25 NHL season still has that new car smell, and the action is heating up at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. It's super easy for first timers to get started at DraftKings Sportsbook. Try betting on something simple like picking a team to win. And of course, if you're listening to this, you're probably a Red Wings fan. You can definitely bet the puck line, the total, the money line, how many goals are going to be scored, over or under. Example is most of them are coming up is at like 6. So you can be like over 6 goals or under 6 goals. I mean, you can get all the action at Sportsbook. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use the code THPN. That's code THPN for new customers. Get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER in New York. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit cpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort. 21 plus, age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bet must win to receive award. Bonus bet expires 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/ice. And ice it is. We are going into the next trade, and let me pull it up real quick. We have a trade with the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Utah Hockey Club, as well as with the Columbus Blue Jackets. So we're going to start off with the Toronto and the Utah one. Looking at Nick Schmaltz at half retained. Nick Schmaltz has this year and next year available. So similar to the Jake McCabe deal, where they had Chicago retain Jake McCabe's salary of half of his salary of $4 million. So again, Toronto's only paying $2 million. In return, Utah gets Nick Robertson and Ben Danford. I think Nick Robertson's kind of an expiring, kind of moving himself off the roster. I don't mind that for the Toronto to move off of him. I will say for Ben Danford, he's in the OHL and currently about a half a point per game player, down with the Oshawa Generals. And the reason I would say I don't think they're going to give up Ben Danford. It's too soon to give up on him. He's a first round pick from this past year. I think it's too soon. So what I will say is there's something there with Nick Schmaltz. I'm thinking it's Nick Robertson and a first round pick. I think you're going to give up your 2026 first round pick. Maybe you give up your 2 seconds, you give up your 2025 and 2027 second round picks. But to me, I think that makes more sense because you're getting the extra year of Schmaltz. You're moving off of Nick Robertson, you're moving off a roster player, and they are retaining half for this year and next year. I think a first round pick makes sense. Again, the other thing about the monetary value of what it takes to take back the actual real dollars, right? So if it's $2.9 million this year and $2.9 million next year, that's $5.8 million over the $5.8 million over the next 2 years. So you're getting a good player. You're like, Utah's not just moving off of him for anything, right? Again, think about it this way. Like Red Wings took back a second round pick to take back $5 million of Mark Stahl. So if Utah is retaining $5.8 million over 2 years of Nick Schmaltz, they should forget getting at least a second round pick. So I would say minimally it's got to be Nick Robertson and a second round pick. But Nick Schmaltz isn't just a depreciating asset; he's a good asset, and he's kind of what the Toronto Maple Leafs would need for this year and next year as a third line center. So I think you can argue that it may be a fourth round pick or a first round pick, and then maybe like Toronto gets like a fourth, something like that, like just to offset a little bit. But overall, I can definitely see a Nick Robertson and a first round pick. I think Ben Danford, because of how the defense prospects for the Toronto Maple Leafs are not that great. So I think Ben Danford's a little too early to give up on because I think they may need him long term. So I'm going to say no to Danford part, but swap out for a first round pick and then give Toronto a fourth or a fifth. I think you got a deal there. So I'd say deal. There's definitely good bones here. I like that a lot. Going over to you, Matthew Olivier for Ryan Reeves and Nikita Grabenkin. Nikita Grabenkin's getting a ton of hype right now. So again, it's hard to pull guys that are doing that are exciting for the club. But looking at Matthew Olivier, he's 27 years old. He's a UFA. He's in 31 games. He has 12 points. Kind of playing more of a third liner winger. Then you have Ryan Reeves. He's played in 22 games, but again, only 1 point. Again, that's not his game. And then Nikita Grabenkin has played in 7 games this year, 0 points. But again, he's playing on a fourth line role. But with the Marlies, they're putting up 11 points in 15 games. So there's definitely definitely a good prospect there. And in the KHL in 23-24, he had 41 points in 67 games. So to me, I think Nikita Grabenkin brings a little more value than people would suggest. And Ryan Reeves absolutely brings value as well, in the sense that Ryan Reeves brings the vibes, and you have him for this year and next year. And Matthew Olivier I just don't think brings the value that you want to see. Again, he's not really a point getter. He's not really a tough guy. And if he is a tough guy, well, why would I take Matthew Olivier? Matthew Olivier makes 1.1 million and Ryan Reeves makes 1.35. So for an extra 250 grand, I can just keep Ryan Reeves, who's already acclimated and I know fits in the locker room vibes, is a hard hitter that I can put out and that people are afraid of. Also, he's like 15 pounds on Matthew Olivier. And then I can see maybe a Matthew Olivier for Ryan Reeves swap maybe. But for a forward bottom six prospect like Nikita Grabenkin, I don't think it's worth doing for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Again, there's something there, I think. And Columbus gets a third round pick. Yeah, is this too much value going back to the Columbus Blue Jackets? I think they are highly valuing Matthew Olivier too much. So I mean, I guess the biggest value here would be cap space because Columbus is taking back 2.2 million and they're retaining it at 555K. So you're getting you're basically offloading Ryan Reeves and Grabenkin for the cap space of $2 million. So maybe that's where you're getting the $2 million that if you need for Schmaltz, maybe I could see something like that. So if you had both scenarios happening, I could see that to make the cap space work. I just don't know if I would want that. I think Grabenkin, they like Grabenkin too much. I think they'd rather just give up Ryan Reeves in the third. And I don't think they want to get roster players anyways. So maybe a Holmberg or something like that. Maybe a McMahon. I could say that. I think Ryan Reeves is a little too valuable right now to the organization. And I think Brad Treliving really likes his guys. So I think I'm gonna say no. I'll say yes to the Schmaltz deal. I'm gonna say no to the Matthew Olivier. But I do understand. But if you can, we're trying to move some cap space, I guess Ryan Reeves would be one of those ones you could do. I don't think they would just move him though. I don't think they would just waive him. I think they would just waive Ryan Reeves. And I don't know if anyone would pick him up, honestly, because he's got this year and next year as well. So, there's something there. There's definitely something here. I don't know if it's moving out Grabenkin though. That's my biggest hang up is the Grabenkin aspect. So I just don't think you do Ryan Reeves in a third for Matthew Olivier. Sure, that's fine. Again, Grabenkin can be waived, so he's not really a huge cap space factor there. Moving on to the next trade, we got Rasmus Ristolainen. And so the reason I wanted to talk about this one is because there's a lot of comparisons to Ben Chiarot and what he was traded for when he was with the Canadiens to the Florida Panthers. So looking at the trade, I'm pulling it up right now. Ben Chiarot to the Florida Panthers, and the Canadiens received a first round. So the Canadiens moved Chiarot and received prospect Ty Smilek, a fourth round pick, and a first round pick. So you got a first round pick for Chiarot plus a fourth and a prospect. And so to me, I'm looking at a guy like Rasmus Ristolainen, which I think he was also retained salary too, which would make sense. But like to me, I'm looking at a guy like Ristolainen, who again is not a huge point getter. He's 8 points in 31 games, but he plays a tough game. He's 6'4", 20 pounds, and you get him for this year and 2 years afterwards at half retained. Philadelphia is not going to do that for a third, fourth, and seventh round pick, especially for the like what they're doing. They're holding back a ton of salary. Mind you, they're holding back $2.3 million, right? So if you just did the next 2 years, that's 4 point, like not even including this year, right? Because we're already partially through this year. Let's say it was just for those other 2 years, like you're looking at $4.6 million. Again, that's about a second round pick because you're trading out an asset that the other team wants. It's going for a playoff. So he's a valuable asset. So you're getting at least a second round pick just for the money. And so I think Jared Woodley, he's a 6th round pick from the LA Kings. He in the OHL, he has 12 points, 31 games. Not really a highly valued prospect. I mean, he's a D, so I guess, but he is 6'5", 207 pounds. So he'd be like, cool. He's cool to have. So let's say it's Jared Woodley, a second and a third. I would do that for Ristolainen, especially for how much money you're retaining. And mind you, there is something to the cap space. I'm going to pull this up real quick. There's something to the cap space of the Philadelphia Flyers. Like you want to be able to utilize it. They only have 1.9 cap space right now currently. And for the deadline, they'll have 5.7. But those spots do get taken up by people who you're retaining salary for, right? They have 2 remaining spots. So if they retain that spot, you have 3 spots where you can retain salary. And if they're already using one for the Kevin Hayes contract they're retaining on, like you need those spots so you can be able to trade other players out as well, right? So if they wanted to sell on Noah Cates, Garnett Hathaway, like Joel Farabee, not going to do Joel Farabee, but like look at some of the other players who they might want to sell on. Let's say they sell on Nick Sealer. No, they just signed him. But you know what I mean, like those spots are valuable for a reason, or they can also be used. Like if you're like, oh, we want to retain one of these spots, you have to pay for that spot. Like I'm retaining salary for you, so I need a second round pick because it's going to be not just this year, it's going to be not just next year, it'll be the year after as well. So I need more than a second round pick. I need a second and a third, and I'm getting Jared Woodley, and he's a valuable player, so throw in a 4th round pick too. So I can see this for like a second, third, and 4th, which seems like a lot. Or you could just give me like a 1st, which I don't think LA wants to do, right? But there's value in a player like Ristolainen, and there's value in having a guy like him only held at $2.8 million. Like that's a valuable player for LA Kings. Because again, if it doesn't work out this year and they want to trade him over the summer or something like that, they can retain and get assets back for him. I mean, so there's this game that you got to make sure you get the value for the guys that you're trading, right? So I think you're needed at least a second and a third with Jared Woodley for Ristolainen. Ideally, maybe a prospect back. Maybe something like Arthur Kaliev or something like that, just as like an extra. But that's the idea around it right now is that's how I think you would need to do, and it just makes a ton of sense. So let me know what your thoughts are on that as well, because that's an interesting one. I like the structure. I think this person is an LA Kings fan, but I think that I think Philadelphia needs a little bit more, just a little bit more. So moving on to another trade. Dylan Cozens, by the way, was the most traded person today on Puckpedia. We got a trade with the Ottawa Senators and the Buffalo Sabres, and you have Dylan Cozens going to the Ottawa. By the way, this is definitely a Ottawa Senators like person. That is, hey, why don't you take this guy off our hands? That'd be awesome. Thank you. Dylan Cozens is a highly valued prospect right now. Player that is currently in trade talks because everyone wants him. But mind you, he's expensive and for a long time, and he's undervalued right now. He's only got 13 points, 31 games. He's got this year and then 5 years after right now. And so he can be a highly valuable player. And we can see that because in 22-23, he had 68 points in 81 games. Last year's a little bit of down year, 47 points in 79 games. And he's still, again, he's trying to struggle in this year. But this is a kid that I think that can absolutely pop off and still be good. He's a center. He's 23. He's 6'3". He's a good player. We've seen him really do really well. And you're trading him for Artem Zoo, who is he's got this year and 2 years after that. He's a good defenseman. But you know who doesn't need defensemen is Buffalo. Buffalo has Bo and Byram. They have Samuelson. They have Owen Power. They have Rasmus Dahlin. Like, they don't need another defenseman. So already the value for Dylan Cozens is, if you're trading for Dylan Cozens, you're getting like a first, a high ranked prospect, and like a second. Like, you're getting a quite a bit for Dylan Cozens. I think he's going to be really good. And Artem Zoom is not what Buffalo wants. And also Buffalo's trading within division. So you got to pay the extra tax there, right? Where you're like, oh, if we're going to play this guy for the next 5 to 7 years, like, we got to pay us a lot. So again, I'm going to nix this right here. The Ottawa Senators with Buffalo Sabres for Dylan Cozens and Artem Zoom. And also Buffalo has a 2026 third round pick and a fourth round pick in 2027. It's just not enough for what Dylan Cozens could provide. Again, you're selling low on him, but that's too low. And again, Artem Zoom, again, a guy who's 29. Again, he has some time on his contract left, but really he's, again, a good short-term asset for a team that's trying to perform for the playoffs. But for a long-term asset, for a guy like Dylan Cozens, who is 23 years old, and you're getting back a 29-year-old Artem Zoom, it doesn't cut the mustard. It just doesn't. So I'm going to say no to that trade. But we're going to look at the other one where it's San Jose Sharks take on David Perron for a fourth-round pick for future considerations. Again, we talked about this, and Mark Stahl, to take on the Mark Stahl contract of $5 million, cost the Rangers a second-round pick. David Perron makes $4 million for the rest of this year and next year. So we're not even halfway through the season. So you're looking at like $6 million to take on this kid. And just let you know what, Red Wings, I disagree with the trade, but just to give you an idea how much the dollars matter. Red Wings paid San Jose Sharks a second-round pick to take on Jake Wallman's deal, which is, by the way, looking phenomenal for the San Jose Sharks. Good for you guys. Heisman really messed up that one, but you're not giving David Perron to the San Jose Sharks for a fourth-round pick. It's going to be a second all day because just the money straight up. Again, and he's not performing well. He's played 9 games, he's got 0 points. I don't know if he's injured or if he's just hurting or what's happening. But it's definitely not the Perron that we thought he was. And he's 36 years old. So you're like, okay, how long is he going to be playing for? And so to me, I would say no. It's got to be a second round pick. Unfortunately, if you want to move off of Perron's contract, maybe a third and a fourth. Based on what I've been told, a second round pick is like valued. If you have 2/3, it's the equivalent of like a second. Just to give you an idea. So I think there's something with like a third and a fourth or a 2/3 and David Perron. Like, you got to do something more than that. And I think it just a straight up fourth round pick. San Jose does not want to take that on because it'll be this year and next year too. Again, so you're clogging up spots for young kids. I think the leadership is something there. There's definitely good leadership for David Perron. He was a really good locker room guy for the Red Wings. I just don't think that's a good enough payment. Again, if I'm the Sharks, I'd be like, pay up, buddy. We'll take the contract back. But you got to pay more than this. So that's my opinion. But let me know what your thoughts are on that one. So we're going to take another quick break, and then we will jump into we got 3 more trades left, and then we will head out for the night. So stay tuned till after this break. You know what that sound is? That's the sound of ice skates skating on the ice at your favorite team's hockey game. You know, there's nothing like the excitement of being at a game, the crowd, the energy, the roar, the chants, the songs. It's just so much to it. And the best way you're going to be able to find an amazing seat and an amazing game is going to be at Game Time. Game Time also has this new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff and shows you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste your time searching through thousands of tickets. And my wife and I were actually end up going to a Detroit Red Wings game on December 2nd, I believe it is. That's one that we're looking at, and talk about a super deal. And you can actually find any concert tickets there. You can do comedy. There's so many different options there. They also have curated deals to make it easier to find the best deals on great seats. And also you can see the view of your seat before you buy. They have a lowest price guarantee, event cancellation protection, and job loss protection as well. One thing I really enjoy about it is the all-in pricing. Toggle this feature to show the total upfront with no surprises, no surprise fees at checkout. So you can also get a panoramic, again, talking about your view, it's a panoramic view. You can see the sea, not just like, well, look at the stage. You get the full panoramic view. And they also have the lowest price guarantee, or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. And so take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time picks. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code THPN for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code THPN for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. All right, we're jumping into our last couple of trades. We've got 3 more left for you guys. And so we have a trade with the Vancouver Canucks and the Pittsburgh Penguins, a team that is currently in a playoff spot and team that wants to be better and looking for some good picks. We're looking at a guy like Matthew Olivier. Matthew Olivier was the Sens trade. I apologize. Vancouver Canucks are acquiring Anthony Beauvillier and Marcus Pettersson. Anthony Beauvillier is a guy who's has 1 year left on his contract. He has 11 points in 32 games. So about a point every 3 games. It's not terrible. And then Marcus Pettersson, a phenomenal first pair defenseman, 6'4", and he's going to get a good contract. He's also a UFA as well. Not a huge point getter, but again, it's in the Penguins. Plus, you have to consider that he is like a great defender as well. And it's crazy because Anthony Beauvillier, I was already playing with the Vancouver Canucks. He got traded to the Chicago Blackhawks, and then now he's with the Pittsburgh Penguins. It just cracks me up, by the way. So, and he went to Nashville. I think he signed with Vancouver, got traded to Chicago, then got traded to Nashville. Like it was crazy. So, Beauvillier would be fine. It'd be a good addition. And then looking at what Niels Hoglander brings is the return. Niels Hoglander and a first-round pick to the Pittsburgh Penguins. Niels Hoglander, 5 points in 29 games. He's the 4th-line right winger. He expires at the end of this year. He is an RFA, so that means they will get to keep his rights and everything. Kind of struggling this year in comparison to last year. Definitely playing, low minutes. He's playing a little over 10 minutes a night. But again, as a young kid that like Pittsburgh can use to like grow the team, right? And definitely maybe you can give him a larger role than 4th line. You can give him like some middle 6, some 2nd and 3rd line role. And I think this actually is a decent trade. I don't mind this at all. I think it's actually pretty good because I think for Marcus Pettersson, I think someone's going to trade a 1st-round pick for him. He's that good. And then for the opportunity to be able to keep him as well, I think it'd be huge for him. I think for the team as well, they try and sign him if he works out. I think a 1st-round pick is about right for Marcus Pettersson. I think he's just going to be a highly valued player. Again, he's especially at half retained. I definitely could see that as well. And so doing the Marcus Pettersson for a 1st-round pick, that kind of makes sense. For Anthony Beauvillier, again, for Niels Hoglander, who Vancouver seems to have soured on. It feels that way. And we know, by the way, we also know that Pittsburgh has been trying to get Niels Hoglander as well. I've always liked the player. I'm super jealous. I want Red Wings to get him. I think he's got a ton of potential. I think he's got a phenomenal name, but I think he's got a ton of potential. Like it's maybe just a vibes thing. I'm looking at what he did in the Swedish international tournament in 1920. He had 19 points in 15 games. In the junior 20 in the SHL in 17-18, he had a point per game. Like I just think he's a good player with a lot of potential, and he's a smaller kid, right? But he definitely can perform, and I think that is. I mean, he's put up some points. He just needs more time, and I think he's just kind of not working out in the Vancouver system. I think a change senior would be good for him. So basically, you're doing a Niels Hoglander for Anthony Beauvillier swap. I like this trade. I think I might give Vancouver back a 4th or a 3rd round pick because the 1st-round pick is about where you're getting for Marcus Pettersson. Niels Hoglander, a prospect or an overripened prospect for Anthony Beauvillier, a guy who is on his way. He may resign with Vancouver. If he does, it'd be great for Vancouver. But like I think you send back a 5th then. because I think Niels Hoglander is maybe the higher upside than Anthony Beauvillier, but we'll see. Anthony Beauvillier can also play center as well, so just to give you an idea on that. So, but I think that's about right. Something around in this area is pretty good. I'm just being nitpicky by asking for like a 5th round pick. So that's me just being a little silly boy over here. So we're going on to our next trade. We have let's go over here. We have 2 transactions. Okay, sharing this tab. Again, it's so funny and I know I'm a Red Wings fan, so like I'm a homer when it comes to that. And I'm looking at this trade and I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I don't agree with that. So just to give you an idea, and this person is definitely a Buffalo Sabres fan. And so what they're doing is they're saying, hey, Red Wings, do you want Tage Thompson? A currently good forward. And he is a good forward right now. He's at 25 points, 26 games. He is definitely a good forward. He would be a great second line forward for the Red Wings, second or first line. It'd be great to have like a 1-2 punch of him and Larkin. I totally agree. But I would say what you got to realize here is you're saying Detroit's willing to give up for Tage Thompson. 1st round pick, Nate Danielson, 9th overall. 1st round pick, Axel Sandin-Pellikka, who is getting a point per game in the SHL. A potential Erik Karlsson, like breaking SHL defensive records, U20 defensive records. 1st round pick, another 1st round pick, and another 1st round pick for Tage Thompson. So you're saying you want 4 1st round picks for Tage Thompson? Absolutely no. Absolutely not. Like, by the way, just to give you an idea, I want to pull this up because I think this is important just to give you some realization. So we're looking at NHL offer sheets, offer sheet compensations. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because for you to offer sheet a player who is making a significant amount of money, let's say like a Connor McDavid type level money, okay? To offer sheet, okay, so you have to offer, I'll just share this. Okay. Can you see it? Okay, cool. So this is offer sheet compensation. If you want to offer someone $11.4 million for a contract, let's say who's an RFA right now? Let's say Connor McDavid was an RFA. You're like, hey, Connor, we'll give you $12.5 million, right? Like it's who's another RFA who's going to be up here recently? I can't think of one offhand, but like you're like, okay, like we're willing to give our next first 4 first round picks for Connor McDavid. That's the type of person you trade 4 first round picks for is Connor McDavid. It decimates your future because you got to give up the next 4 years of first round picks. But like that's the type of player that you trade for. And for a Sabres fan to be like, hey, this is a good idea. There's just they're 2 of their top prospects plus 2 first round picks. Absolutely not. And so this is one of those ones where I'm like, hey, get your brain checked because that is crazy. Tage Thompson is a great player. He is not worth that much. He is not. He's maybe worth Nate Danielson and a first round pick, but you're not getting all that stuff. Like, and again, you gotta look at the Red Wings window. Like, Larkin is the top of the window, and he's 27. Like the real window and real core is like Lucas Raymond, who's 22. Sider, who's 23. Like you want these Danielson and Sandin-Pellikkas who are 20 years old, 20-ish years old, to like come up under those guys so that you can have a core that sticks around for longer, as opposed to a Tage Thompson, who is very good right now. He's performed really well. He is 27 though, so he's on the later again. So you're gonna an asset that's not gonna be around for nearly as long. So I'm going to say no to this deal, which essentially makes no to this next deal, but I understand why. You're getting Vancouver's getting Dylan Cozens, a first round pick, and a first round pick for Elias Pettersson. And again, Elias Pettersson is starting to pick it up again now. He's got 26 points in 29 games. He just signed a new contract for that. And again, you're talking Dylan Cozens, a first round pick, and 3 more first round picks. Again, I just talked about the compensation. I'm going to say no. I don't even think Vancouver does that for Elias Pettersson because you want the player who's that good. So I'm gonna say no to both those deals, but I just want to give you an idea of like, hey, like I appreciate people like putting in the effort to try to like, build these out and everything. It's tough to think, it's tough to make these deals that work under the cap structure, as well as like contracts and money and everything. But like these are just a little ridiculous to me. And I those are like, no, but I understand why you're a Buffalo fan. Like, oh yeah, let's get the best prospects, some of the best prospects that Red Wings have. Now let's get one of the best players that Vancouver has. And then we'll just send out Tage Thompson and Dylan Cozens. Dylan Cozens kind of wants to go anyways, and Tage Thompson is a little older anyways. So you're like, I understand why you do it, but to me, it's just like a little crazy. So I'm gonna say no deal in that one. So moving on to our last one. Again, it is a Red Wings one, and we got there's some stuff here. There's definitely some stuff here. So definitely a Red Wings fan. Okay, so we talked about this earlier. You have Alex DeBrincat and Patrick Kane going to the New York Rangers. Again, moving Patrick Kane, I'm okay with. There was kind of a Kakko in that deal, right? And for DeBrincat, you're getting back a first round pick, a late first round pick, mind you, Matt Rempe, and a fourth. So basically, for Alex DeBrincat, you're getting what you got for him. You get a roster player, a first round pick, a fourth round pick, and like, Kakko is more valuable than a prospect that the Red Wings sent over. But to me, I would say no deal to this. I think DeBrincat is a top line player for the Red Wings. I don't think they would want to trade him. I think to bring a Kane, I understand. I don't really need Matt Rempe. I don't really the first round pick would be nice, but again, if Patrick Kane for Kakko, honestly, I would just do that straight up. I think that would be a sick deal. Kakko can move on. Patrick Kane can go play with a contender. Maybe you send over again like a third or fourth round pick back to the Rangers for Kakko. But I just don't think Kakko has the highest upside that he used to anymore. But he's a good project to be able to take on for a depreciating asset like Patrick Kane. I think DeBrincat, you'd need a lot more for. I think you need probably a first and a second round pick for him. I just think he's performing really well. He's playing really well on the top line. We'd like to see a little bit more production out of him. Absolutely. 23 points in 30 games. So he's doing okay. Is he playing I think he's probably playing just about as well as he was before. I mean, he's pretty much on pace for, he's a little bit slower but he's not too far off of what he's been doing the last couple of years. So I'd say no deal on that one. Just I think Red Wings don't want to trade Alex DeBrincat, right? He's part of their window as well. And mind you, they would get DeBrincat for this year and 2 years after that. So I think maybe you need to throw like again a first round pick and a second round pick and a fourth round pick. Like it would need something like pretty significant because again, you're getting that guy, a good player, a good roster player. And DeBrincat's played really well. So that's fine. There's something there, but it's not fully there. Again, I think Alex DeBrincat is one that they're not going to be willing to trade. So going over to the other one, Vincent Desharnais for Eric Gustafson at $1 million retained. And so Gustafson makes $2 million for this year, next year. And then Vincent Desharnais makes $2 million for this year, next year. Desharnais in and out of the lineup, 17 games, 2 points. Eric Gustafson, 22 games, 5 points. But Gustafson does play the power play. I think Desharnais may play some penalty kill. I don't like Gus. Again, I don't mind trading Gustafson. I don't think he's working out that well with the Red Wings. I don't mind trading him. If you did a 1-for-1 swap, I think Red Wings still lose this. And then they're having Red Wings also retain $1 million in salary. I'm going to say no, because I think Desharnais is just not what they need. Again, he doesn't put up any points. And then you're losing a guy who is a power play. He's on the second PP. So I'm going to say a no deal to this one. I just don't. Desharnais is not good enough for that. If you did like a Gustafson for Nils Hoglander and you sent Gustafson with like a 4th round pick, I'd be down for that because then you get an asset in Hoglander back. But Desharnais doesn't have the value that I think this person thinks they do, and I'm gonna say no deal on that one. Then we have 2 more trades in this package that the person put it together. Let's just do the quick Athanasio from Chicago for future considerations to the Detroit Red Wings. No, he has 5 games. He has 0 points. Either he's hurt or he's not playing well and he's being scratched. I think he's hurt. And for $4.25 million, no, absolutely not. We're not taking back Chicago's garbage for nothing. We will take him back for a third and a fourth round pick, or 2/3, or a second. But that is the only consideration that I would do for Athanasiou, because we're not taking back their garbage for nothing. So no. And then lastly, we have Tarasenko, who has a contract for this year and next year for $4.75 million. He's got 12 points, 29 games. Definitely not panning out like you think he would. And for a third and a fifth round pick, I don't love it. But he does have a full-blown no move clause. And so there's something to consider there where it's like, oh, like, what's he going to be? Like, I will say, if they're retaining on this, so they're not retaining on the Tarasenko. I think Dallas would want them to retain, by the way, because they're definitely going to want them to retain because they don't have a ton of cap space. I'm pretty sure. I'm going to pull up their cap space. I'm very sure that they're not sitting as pretty as people think they are. And so with the Dallas Stars, pulling them up, give me 10 seconds. Yeah, they're sitting at 1.2 right now, and they'll have like 3.7. They couldn't actually even fit Tarasenko underneath their cap right now, so they have to retain about half anyways. For a third and a fifth round pick, I'd say no deal, because they're going to get, again, Dallas taking on the full cap. I don't think they can't fit him, one, so they would say no. They have to take a player back, and so this deal already doesn't work. But again, you'll probably retain half because so that Dallas can actually fit them. And I'd say you're going to end up taking back, because if you retain half, that's 2.4 plus 2.4 for next year. That's 4.8 for the next 2 years, which again, we talked about the Marc Stahl deal for a second round pick, right? So if you did a second round pick for Tarasenko half retained, I would do that. I would do that for sure. I think that makes sense. Tarasenko is just not really working out. I think you rather have the second round pick. So that is my opinions on some trades. Let me know what your thoughts are. Hit like, subscribe. Love you, and appreciate you sticking around. Thanks a lot. Love you. See you next one.